Jensen went on stage and claimed that the new RTX 5070 would perform like the last gen's flagship, that was 4090.
RTX 5070, 4090 performance at 549.
Big words from the leather jacket man, right? But is this actually the revolutionary GPU that NVIDIA wants us to believe? Or well, let's just say it's another overhyped cash grab at this point. Let's find out if your wallet needs to weep yet again. Well, let's get the boring stuff out of the way first. This thing comes with 6144 CUDA cores, which sounds impressive until you realize how NVIDIA loves throwing numbers around. It runs at 2.325 GHz base clock and can boost up to 2.512 GHz when it feels like it, that is. Well, you also get 12 GB of that fancy new GDDR7 memory. Yes, I know, just 12 GB in 2025. How generous of them, right? With a 192-bit memory interface and 672 GB per second of bandwidth. There's also 48 RT cores and 192 tensor cores packed in there too, all ready to power that DLSS4 magic that NVIDIA swears isn't just making up half of those frames. Well, power-wise, it'll suck down 250 watts, which is exactly as what they quoted, but honestly, who the hell actually cares about that? Let's get down to what actually matters, the real world performance. So let's start with gaming, or the traditional rasterization. Well, at 1080p, which, let's be real, nobody's buying this damn card to actually play at that 1080p resolution. The 5070 performs decently here. It basically ties in with the 4070 Super in Alan Wake 2, which is weird considering this is supposed to be a generational leap, not a lateral move. And of course, without NVIDIA's frame generation wizardry, it's literally identical to the 4070 Super. Well, so much for progress, right? Well, we did see some minor improvements though in a few titles only, and a measly 5% boost in Black Myth Wukong and about 8% better in Cyberpunk 2077. Revolutionary stuff, right? Moving to 1440p, where this card actually should shine. The results get even more disappointing though. It actually loses to the 4070 Super in Red Dead Redemption 2, The Last of Us, and the F1 2024. Overall, we are looking at pathetic 4% improvement over the last gen. I guess NVIDIA spent all their engineering budget on those fancy AI demos that nobody actually asked for. As for 4K gaming, don't make me laugh, man. Sure, it'll run games at 4K if you turn on DLSS and don't mind the occasional slideshows during intense scenes. It gives more frames than the 4090 in Cyberpunk 2077. But let's just say consistent frame quality isn't in this card's dictionary. Well, let's talk ray tracing, which is supposedly NVIDIA's specialty. Look, ray tracing is incredibly demanding, and frankly, this card struggles more than NVIDIA's marketing would have you believe. In real-world testing, the 5070 performs better than AMD's offerings, but falls noticeably short of what you would expect from a next-gen product. It sits uncomfortably between the last gen's 4070 Super and the 4070 Ti in honestly most ray tracing benchmarks. And for a card that's supposed to represent generational leap, honestly, that just feels embarrassing. Now coming to 1440p with ray tracing enabled, which is realistically where most buyers would use this card for, and it barely manages to keep up with the 4070 Ti in titles like Cyberpunk 2077 and struggles to maintain even 60 FPS without the DLSS4 assistance. And the only area where it shows meaningful improvement is in titles that have been specifically optimized for the newer architecture. And if you're thinking about 4K gaming with ray tracing enabled, think again and stop. This limited 12 GB VRAM becomes a serious bottleneck here, causing stuttering and texture streaming issues in memory-intensive ray-traced environments. In 2025, shopping a so-called high-end GPU with just 12 GB of memory is frankly insulting. So, the gaming performance is underwhelming. Understandable. But surely those fancy Blackwell architecture improvements must shine in AI workloads, right? Well, kind of. It does beat the 4070 Super and gets close to the 4070 Ti Super in standard AI benchmarks. But here's the kicker. Most serious AI workloads need more VRAM than the 12GB that this card has to offer. So you have got all this AI processing power that you actually can't use for anything substantial. Classic NVIDIA move as always. The updated media engine is actually decent, giving the 5070 a win against the 4070 Ti Super in DaVinci Resolve and actually matching the 5070 Ti in Premiere Pro also. So you might think, hey, at least it's good for productivity. But nope. In Blender, the barbershop test, 4070 Ti Super wins again. I'm sensing a pattern here, So at least it's cool and efficient, right? Ha, of course not. Somehow, NVIDIA messed up the cooling design such that only one of the two fans actually pushes air through the heatsink fins. This engineering masterpiece resulted in an average temps of 73 degrees in F1 2024 and a toasty 77 degrees in the Combustor test. That's as hot as the power-hungry 5090, despite using less than half of the power at just 250 watts. Impressive, just all in the wrong ways. So, should you be buying this RTX 5070? Look, if you enable NVIDIA's frame generation tech, sure, it can even match or beat the last gen's flagship in some very specific scenarios, but here's the catch. Not every game supports these features, like the DLSS 4 is only there in some games. You're basically getting a slightly warmed over 4070 Super with a brand new name and a higher price tag to go along with it. If you're upgrading from a 20 or 30 series card and mainly play at 1440p or need something for that creative work if you do any, then yeah, it's a very decent enough choice. But if you already have a 40 series card like a 4070 or something, or you actually want something like consistent 4K gaming, then I'd suggest save your money or wait for something more powerful. The 5070 isn't the 4090 killer that Jensen promised. It's more like a 4070 Super's slightly more talented twin that just won't stop bragging about it. Well, that's it for today's reality check. Drop a comment below and let me know if you're buying this NVIDIA's hype or if you're as disappointed as me. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And of course, hit that damn bell icon. If you enjoy watching tech companies overpromise and underdeliver. See you in the next video. Peace out.